Hello, 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 accountants and later. What's good? How are you all feeling today? Yesterday was a super exciting day. Yesterday, I had the bright idea, and I had the idea, and it took maybe 8 hours from the time that I had the inception of the idea to the time I had the implementation of the idea and I had the execution of the idea. And the big idea that I had was I wanted to pour into our community, and I wanted to do so by giving to people strategic market and strategy sessions with me, yours truly. And it was super, super cool. And so that's the first thing I want to tell y'all today. When you get a good idea, you need to act on that good idea. The longer it takes for you to actually go in and implement to do the thing, the longer amount of time, the more amount of time you have to talk yourself out of it, to tell yourself why you shouldn't do it, why it's not a good idea, why it won't work, and all the other things. And then the next thing you know, you just end up not having done anything because you can't get it perfect. Let me do you a favor and let me assure you that you will never get anything you do perfect, because that's just not how life works, right? The more we do, the more often we do it, the better we get. So that is my first takeaway for you today. Now, what I want you to do, if you are tuning in live, I want you to do me a favor, and I want you to say, hey, let me know you hear, let me know you hear me and see me. If you're on a replay, do me a favor, give me a hashtag replay. If you're watching on the Shanita Jones business page, come on over to the Accountants Unlettered Facebook group. Yesterday, we gave away two gifts worth $2,000, and who knows what else I'm going to give away. Hey, Cherie, um, not only are there things for you to give away, but there's also opportunities for you to give yourself and others gifts as well. So, what I want to talk to you about today is kind of creepy, kind of eerie, but in my opinion, it's hella interesting. I had to become a marketer, a student of marketing, not by choice, but just by design and by circumstances. And today's lesson comes to you from the Undertaker. Yes, the Undertaker at the actual funeral home. Hey, Naomi. Hey, Jamaica. So I know you probably say, Shanita, you have lost your natural mind. What does the Undertaker in the funeral home have to do with marketing? Well, I thought the same thing when this message first came to me. Because if you've been around any amount of time, especially if you're in the accounting, the tax community, you have heard the expression, there's only two things certain in life, and that's death and taxes. So if I know that death is certain and I own a funeral home, I'm an undertaker, I'm not going to ever have to worry about business, right? Tell me what y'all think. Yes or no? And if you're in business now, I'm from Southwest Philly. Shout out to Philly. I don't know if anybody from Philly is here, but I'm from Philly. And in Philly, we have this very popular funeral home. If you've never used them for one of your loved ones, you've been there before. And it's Francis Funeral Home, 52nd and Whitby, right? They take real good care of you. So anyway, I'm opening my email. I get this email, and it's from the funeral home. I'm like, why is the funeral home emailing me? Now, unfortunately, everybody in my family and even in my husband's family, which I guess is also my family, whenever someone passes away, they always ask me to help with the obituary. It's been this way for years. I don't understand it, but I always end up helping out with the obituary. So I understood why the people at the funeral home had my contact information. I've done slide decks for them. I've done all kind of stuff for our family when they pass away. So I get this email from the funeral home, and the first thing I'm thinking is I'm like, OMG, what has happened now? What did they put my name down for? And what is this mess now that I'm going to have to become a part of and help someone get through? I know that's selfish, but I hate death, and that's how I was thinking. So I open up the email, I get to read the email, and guess what? Nobody died, praise God. The funeral home was sending me an email because it was part of their marketing campaign. So I said, well, dang, why does the funeral home have a marketing campaign if I know that only two things in life are certain, and that's death and taxes? Why would the funeral home be marketing to me? And that's where my lesson for today comes from. And the first thing I want you to remember is just because your services are needed doesn't mean that they are needed to be done by you, by your customers. You are not to take for granted that just because they come to you every year for taxes, that you are the only tax person. Even if you are the preferred bookkeeper, that whenever they mess up their accounting, they come to you every time so that you can fix it. Ah, 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 ah. don't take for granted. Because if the funeral home can send me a marketing email, and I looked through my spam, they had been going to spam for some reason, and the funeral home had been emailing me quite consistently. They've been emailing me a few times per week. So somebody may be thinking, well, damn, they just waiting for somebody to die. But I think not. I think that they were valuing my business. I think that they were valuing the fact that I had used their services before. And I think that they know that it is inevitable that their services will be needed again. And when the need arises, they want to be at the top of my mind. Does that make sense to anybody? Is that hitting home for anybody? Is that striking any nerves? The next thing that thing taught me, receiving a marketing communication from a funeral home, was that it is important that we stay visible. You know the funeral home is there. And now y'all gonna be driving around your neighborhoods, y'all gonna see the funeral home. Y'all gonna be like, that damn Shanita, she was talking about the funeral home. Now I see them everywhere. But you know the funeral home is there. But you don't necessarily look for the funeral home because that's not pleasant. Well, what if I were to tell you that your balance sheets, cash flow statements, P&Ls, cost reporting? What if I were to tell you that your tax planning or your what y'all construction people like to do, job costing? What if I tell you that that is not appealing? No one is sitting in their bed at nighttime dreaming with the dream clouds over their heads, and they're dreaming about class tracking and locations and the sales tax center. If they are, it's not a happy experience. It's an unpleasant experience because these things evoke unpleasant emotion. However, if you are always putting out good content and you are always at the top of the mind of your ideal clients, when they do have the need to have those bubbles in their head about needing a tax plan, a tax return, an accounting reconciliation, or whatever it is that you do, they will be more likely to think of you because they don't just hear from you at tax season, at quarter end season, or whenever the occasion arises. It's June 8th. There's nothing going on June 8th. There's no reason why the funeral home should be emailing me, but yet they are. And I'm going to tell you another reason why they're emailing me. And I hope that you pick up what I'm putting down. The lesson that we're learning from Francis Funeral Home in Philadelphia is that they wanted to show gratitude for my past patronage. They wanted to show gratitude that I'm a part of their extended family, and they wanted to remind me of that. They wanted to continue to thank me for the opportunity to have served them in the past. And they closed out with letting me know that they are there when I need them. Do your people know that you are there when they need you? Or do your people see that you are there when you need them? I'm going to say that again. Do your people know that you are there when they need you? Or do they just hear your communications as you being there when you need them? What do I mean? What I mean is when you're looking for clients, is that the only time they hear from you? Oh, see me, I'm ABC. I'm gonna always be closing. I am always looking for clients. I'm always looking to grow. However, I don't come and say, hey, Gemma, you are quite amazing yourself. I don't come on and I don't say, hey, childcare business owners, buy my stuff today. Let me give you 3 bookkeeping tips. I don't do that. Instead, I may come on and I may say, hey, childcare owners, did you realize that this is the end of the second quarter of the year? Have you had a chance to revisit your tax plan and make sure that your estimates are still in line? Are you as profitable as you thought you would be? I'm giving them value. When I come on to speak to you, my accountants, bookkeepers, and tax pros, I'm not just coming on telling y'all that y'all hear I have an amazing program where I can show you how to get more clients in less time without feeling sleazy. I can show you how to wake up to calendars booked, calls booked on your calendar. I can put you in a room full of all of your ideal clients where you do one pitch and get calls booked with people that ask not should they work with you, but how do they work with you and how can they get started? I don't show up and tell you about that, but I can do that. If you want to know more about that, just let me know. No, instead, I show up and I give you things. I give you information. I give you tips and resources that whether or not you decide to work with me, you can still use these to advance your business and make your business better. I come on and I give you information that there are people in this group that have sent me messages that have never worked with me for a coaching session. They have never been a part of any program that I coached in. They have never paid me for a strategy session or 101. They are not in my mastermind, but they have sent me messages telling me that things that they heard me say or heard me suggest that they do have enabled them to be able to make money. That is what I'm striving for. That is what I encourage you to be striving for. That is what Francis J, whatever their last name is, funeral home was striving for. They just wanted to put a good taste in my mouth. They just wanted to be at the top of my mind. And because they sent me that communication, if this email makes its way to someone that is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and are looking for someone to take care of the last effects of their loved one, they might be more inclined to call up that Francis funeral home because I said their name and because I said all of these good things about them. By the way, I have absolutely no stake, no ownership, no affiliation or personal relationship with that funeral home. But I actually saw it in my inbox. I thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was kind of eerie. At first, it literally freaked me out that I was getting emails from the funeral home. And when I looked at my spam that I had emails from the funeral director, I said, "Oh, I don't know if I want to open this." But I did open it. So let's do a recap. What did the funeral director teach us? They taught us that just because your services are needed, it does not mean that you should take for granted that people are always going to buy from you. Just because they bought from you before, it doesn't mean that they're going to buy from you again. Furthermore, you need to understand that you are not the only choice. There are other people out here riding around and getting it. There are people out here practicing the ABC, always be closing. So while you are being refined and reserved with a closed mouth, other people out here are being seen and heard, and their open mouths are being fed. Open your mouth. Number three, the funeral home taught us to stay visible. Even though I don't need them right now, I know that when a need does arise because of it's inevitable. When it arises, I know that these people are ready and waiting to accept more business. Okay. And be grateful. They show gratitude. The funeral home showed us that we need to show gratitude for past experiences, for people that have done business with us before. It doesn't have to be every day, every week. Maybe it's just every year. Maybe it's once in a blue when there's nothing to do, but show gratitude. Matter of fact, everybody go just say thank you to somebody that has worked with them before. Okay. And then the last thing that I learned from that email is that you should always let them know that you are there when they need you and not just when you need them, when you need their money. Okay? So, like I said, if you found this to be useful, do me a favor and let me know you found it to be useful. You found it to be helpful. If you have any questions about anything I said, drop your question below. This is a group. You can post in this group and you can ask your questions in this group. You can list your comments in your group. We can have a discussion. Okay. And last but not least, if you do have questions about our program, the Accountants Unlettered members only mastermind, let me know. If you think you get a lot of value in this group, in the free group, you should see what happens in the members only area. And it's not just me. Actually, it's probably even less of me because the community over there is absolutely phenomenal, outrageous. I can't wait till y'all see them out here in these digital marketing streets. I'm super, super proud of them. Shout out to the Accountants and Later members only community. If you are watching or if you catch this on replay, we actually have class tonight. So if you do have questions and you do want to get in before the price increase, you know where to find me. But it is going all the way up. Well, not all the way up, but it is going up in about a week. So you know where I'm at. How at you go. Talk soon. Bye.